All right. So this is what I've been finding so a good question came up right in our group session. So if you go into the modules this week, there's a good question on for your exercise. What do you have to do for the Walnut Creek public art piece? So you got a few things going on for this module, right? We have chapter 3. That's the regular Cornell note, so you'll get a feel for that. Those will happen every week. The themes of art is an art topic discussion. So you're going to integrate what you're reading in chapter 3 and then apply that to the Walnut Creek public art. And then there's the semester art project. So the project, another question came up is, what is this all due this week? No, just for the project, I just want the proposal, right? Not your actual finished work, right? So that's something you'll do throughout the entire semester. But going into the themes of art, we're going to take a look at this one because it might look a little confusing because there's a lot of info in here. But I try to provide all the info you might need to do this remotely, right? So there's an option. If you would like to go, like in other words, if you can do it safely, meaning following the COVID-19 protocols, wearing a mask, keeping distance, etc. You could see this in person. But if you can't do that and you can't do it safely or you don't feel like you can, I'm not going to, you are not required to do it. You can do all of this from home. So this might take 2 to 3 hours because you got to dig through it and look at it for an hour. And then you got to think about it for an hour and then you got to do your writing, right? So this will take a little bit of time this particular week. So do pace yourself and try to make sure that you don't try to do all of this a week's process on the last day. So for this one, what you're going to do is we're reading on the themes of art this week. So what I want you to do is think about these themes from the chapter reading and apply that to the Walnut Creek Public Arts works. So you're going to choose an artwork in here to focus on. So these are all normally I would actually take you all and we would go see this in person, but I can't do that this semester. So what I have done is I'm sharing what I normally have with me as my preparation for you, and then we would look through each one of these. So here's a Google Maps list. So if you decide to actually go there, I'm sharing a map that I made, and each one of these pins, right, takes you, all the little blue pins are public artworks, and you can actually go to a specific one and see it. So like the Fountainhead, this one's pretty well documented. It's that one right there, right? So there's a public art piece. The nice thing about Google Maps is you can kind of try to walk around it. You can't get around it 100%, but you could at least kind of see how big is that head in relation to the building. So scale might be something you want to take note of. We go back here. So there's the artist's name, right? And then these are the ones I think you should choose. Do avoid any of the little electrical boxes. Just try to focus on, so pick an artist, one of these artists. And then from there, there's extra information here. Like they actually have an audio tour. So you might find your artist here. You'll have to search for it. And it can actually, you can actually listen to the audio that somebody has recorded about the piece. Right. And then there's also the art map. So this is just supplemental information. If we're doing a tour, I'd say, hey, meet me at this point. This is Walnut Creek's official map, right? So this is their actual. And if you look on here, you'll see you might get more photos than what you might see on Google Maps. And then right here, that's the website through the Bedford Gallery. So I just use this because it's kind of close, it's close to where we live. There's a lot of art institutions in the Bay Area, but this is a pretty well organized program, and it's like a quick drive for us. So or even you can take mass transit there, which is what I also like. So there's those same links that I was showing you earlier are here, right? There's the public art map and then the walking audio tour. I guess I could have just included this one, but I thought it's kind of helpful to kind of have each of those as a quick link. So what you're going to do is reflecting on the chapter reading and what themes of art are related to the work that you're looking at. So if I choose, the Fountainhead by Syed Alavi, this is what I would do. I would look at the work, And then I'd probably look up the artist online and see it. Do they have are there any videos on this artist? Or what kind of other work does this artist make? Do they have a website? So I'd take their name, I do a Google search on Syed Alabi, and then I might even do a secondary search on this and the Fountainhead, right? That will help you to write your response. So that's what I was saying, like look at the website for 1 hour and then do a little research on your artist. That might be a half hour to an hour. And then your writing, which would be the last part. So the writing is 2 parts, right? You have your prompts. This is just I want your individual view. After you do that, you're going to reply to a classmate, right? So rather than saying like a yes or no, I do want you to respond, right? Like in other words, read their perspective on the artwork. Do you agree? And if so, why? Don't say, yeah, I agree with Brian's perspective. That doesn't tell me too much about what you kind of agree with or disagree with. So do provide specific examples or your perspective. That's kind of how that works. So you'll do your first reply. It's helpful if you do embed an image, like your artwork. If there's a talking point, maybe you found a photo on a different website, there's an option here. You can include an image from a website, and it'll try to find it. And you can also change the size and do that sort of thing. So if that makes things a little bit easier for you to talk about your work, I definitely encourage that. And it's good practice to get in and get familiar with that tool if you haven't been using it for your classes. So I'm going to pause, and I know that was a lot, but if there's any questions right now, I'll open up the chat, or you can just unmute yourself if you'd like to ask a question.
How many prompts do we have to do?
How many prompts do you have to do?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, so that's a good question. So on this one, so it says prompts here. So reflecting on the chapter reading, what themes of art are relative to the work? So you're going to pick one artwork to talk about. That's it. You're going to pick one of these artworks, and you're going to tie that to probably, is this artwork mostly about stories and histories, a record of the past? And if you need to, you might need to go back to the reading and see what makes sense, right? And then that's it. That's your prompt. That's the prompt for your individual response. That should be around 150 words. So you got to be really succinct and make your case pretty clear. For the prompts and the response to a classmate, you're going to reply to one classmate. And that'll be roughly 100 words. Does that answer it?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay. So some of you, it might be split right down the line. Like maybe it's about, maybe one of them is kind of about looking inward, but it's also invention and fantasy. It's okay to kind of include 2, but don't include 5. I think if you're doing more than 2, it's going to be a bit of a stretch. So see if you can connect it really clearly to 1. And if you can't, then include 2. All right. Other questions? Good to go. So your list is good to go. You can also give me feedback like, no, I got it. So if you do the reactions, that helps me know. I'm going to stop the recording if we're good, or I'll pause it for now.